everyone, it's Katie and Mike. Say hi, Mike.
Hey, everybody.
We went to see Mad Max Road Fury. Fury Road? Which one is it? Fury Road, shoot. See, Road Fury makes more sense because it's an actual phrase.
Really?
You know, Road Fury, like road rage.
How does that make more sense than Fury Road? What if it's like a road that's named Fury?
Well, clearly that's what it is because that's the plot of the movie.
Okay.
Actually, I will say this much. Looking back now that we've seen the movie, that name actually makes total sense because that's literally what they're on, right? Like basically they go down this particular road. That's how they're traveling. Anyway, this movie was really, really dang good. Mike?
Yes, I concur. It was very, 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 very excellent.
It's gotten a lot of hype because of actual reviews, and also because MRAs decided it was mean and feminist, and also it's ruining American cinema, which is weird because it's an Australian movie. So
Australian?
Well, that's like part of America, so like
America Junior.
And obviously the Mad Max movies have never had strong female characters in them.
Never.
Nope.
Have you seen one?
I haven't, I just know. I just know because one, like I knew this beforehand that like they had like those kind of archetypes, those like badass lady archetypes. But also because people told me after the MRA thing came out. So yeah, so they were like MRA saying I don't go to see this movie. So of course everybody was like, well, that means we better go see this movie. That sounds great. Usually they have terrible taste. So if they have terrible taste, this must mean it's a really good movie. Turns out it's a really good movie. So I don't want to try to explain it too much, like explain the plots too much. If you've seen the trailer, if you haven't seen the trailer, pause this, go to YouTube, look up the trailers for this so you get a sense of what we're talking about, and then come back. So, it's that. It's what you just saw. With all the...
It's an amazingly visual movie.
Yes, it's very visual. To the point where there's a lot of mumbling and a lot of screaming over other noises happening in this movie. So there's... I said that I'm looking forward to seeing it on DVD so I can get the subtitles out. So I can actually, like, hear some of the exposition that I missed.
To be fair, most of the exposition in this movie is kind of nonsensical.
Oh, I know, but I would still, like I told you in the theater, I'd like to still know what they were saying in case I can get context clues out of this. Because this is a movie where, luckily, they don't explain a lot. In that, like, it's not characters explain to other characters that should know what's going on. You know what I mean? There's no, like, that's the... What were they called? The War Boys? I think they were...
War Boys or something.
I thought they were Po' Boys, but that's a kind of sandwich.
Sandwich.
So I don't think they were po' boys, but I was getting like more and more hungry for like an oyster sandwich throughout the entire anyway. But like it would have been nice to be able to hear some of this to catch some context clues. But there's a lot of, they basically say throughout the movie, like they just show what's going on and they let the audience actually figure out like all the stuff that happens in it. So it's a very visual movie. Not just in the action, which is like way over the top, crazy chase scenes, crazy fight scenes, all that stuff. But besides that, there's also a lot, it really tells the story very, very visually, even outside of those scenes, which I appreciated because a lot of times the writers of movies use dialogue too much to explain what's going on, where it doesn't make any sense. So it's in an apocalypse, in a post-apocalypse, and there's this dictator in the desert, and he's created like this oasis. Like an oasis, but only he and like the people he wants can get to it, and essentially like he uses some women for breeding, he uses some women for like to pump them out of milk. He uses some people as just like blood bags for some of his minions, and his minions are all like, they're all painted in white, and they're part of a cult basically that worships him and thinks they're going to like heaven when they die. So they're Valhalla, yeah. They're very Norse-based for an Australian movie. And so they're very suicide, like they're very, what's the, kamikaze. They're very kamikaze they're willing to jump into like fire and...
Because they believe they will be rebirthed.
Yeah, and a lot of them are already like half alive anyway, or they're just like, they don't really explain it, but essentially like they were already on their last legs anyway, which is why they have to use the blood bags, which is the whole reason why Max, who has been kidnapped by them and being used as a blood bag, was basically strapped onto the front of this car, because when they were called to fight, the guy who's been using him basically goes like, well, I want to be in the fight, I'll just strap my blood bag to the car, and then I'll be able to keep my blood going while also riding to ride and ruin. So all of that happens. What?
And the world's ending.
Actually, kind of, yeah. There's also a really cool thing. I really like this visual from the beginning of the movie, where you see this like decrepit guy, and they're kind of like, they're trying to treat him and stuff, but they're putting on, and then they put on like this plastic armor that looks like abs, so that basically you see, so the first time you see this particular character, he's very like gross and kind of like barely breathing.
Imagine if Darth Vader and the Emperor were crossed together,
yeah,
and then made
and you only see bits.
Fat.
You see him. No, not that guy.
Oh, but I mean, like he's still
like very
warm.
like, yeah, he's so. But then they put these plastic abs on him, so that and it turns out, oh yeah, this is the guy. What was his name? Immortal Joe.
Immortal Joe.
Immortal Joe.
He's got an oxygen tank strapped to his back.
Yeah, but what I love again is that plastic mold of the abs, so that from far away, all the people who he is keeping as basically indentured servants who are you know, so thirsty that they're begging for water from him, from far away it looks like he just looks great, because he's got the face mask, so you don't see all of his gross face. You actually don't see his face at all throughout the movie, which I found interesting. But again, I'm just getting back to the abs. The fact that this guy created a suit that makes it look like he has a body that he doesn't. And I really love that. Also, speaking of MRAs, I did see a lot of parallels between MRAs and all of his little servants who have this like idea of them being greater than they are, and like all like, what's the word I'm thinking of? Where there's that hive mind mentality where they all are gonna, you know what I mean?
I know what you're saying, but
I'm trying to think of what the word is. But it was really interesting to see though, like just how enthusiastic they are at the group mentality and the idea that that this all means something, when really they're just being used by this old man as an army of pawns. So okay, so that's all the setup. So now let's get to the awesome part, which are all the women in the movie, who are all great. So it's Charlize Theron, who plays Ferosa, who was his imperator, basically like one of his generals, but she goes AWOL and rescue with it. She takes with her all of his breeders, who are all the young women that he keeps looking pure and soft and delicate, while also impregnating them so that he can have their offspring, hopefully boys, because of course blah blah blah. And there's this whole bit where it hits you over the head a little bit, but not in necessarily a bad way. But like the bad guy, you know, points at one of the women who's pregnant during one of the chase scenes, and he's like, "That's my property," pointing right to her very pregnant belly, and she looking all defiant. And again, I can totally see why people are calling this a feminist movie, because there is a lot of that going on. So
there's a lot of women standing up to their oppressors. Yeah,
there really is. So, and I just want to say the names of all the girls. One of them is just named Capable, which I found kind of weird. Zoe Kravitz plays Toast the Knowing. Courtney Eden, I don't know her, but Cheeto the Fragile, and that was the one and then I believe, yeah, Rose Huntington Whiteley played the one that had my favorite name, which is oh man, you will not believe who this is actually, but the splendid Agnerod. She was the one that was very pregnant. You want to know who she was?
Who is she?
From Transformers 3. She played the one. She played Sam Witwicky's girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
Which, by the way, I did recognize. I was like, either that looks suspiciously like the woman from Transformers 3, or all pretty women look alike. Because I was like, that is suspiciously close. But I thought she did a really good job.
Yeah.
I liked all the you know, not all the girls got the same amount of, they all got screen time, but they didn't get as much focus personality-wise. But I did like that none of them were particularly sexualized. They could have been, and you know, there is, obviously, I'm
gonna say they get more personality sort of early, and then it sort of gets sidelined during the action.
A little bit.
Climax.
Yeah, I would say that. I did like, but like I said, there are obviously, it's not even hints, you know that they've been raped, that they've been treated
They had
horribly.
chastity belts with giant spikes on them.
Yeah, I did like the girl who kicked hers. That was adorable.
That was one of the funniest parts.
Yeah, where it was, and there was this great moment right before it where Charlize Theron, the first time that they passed the Bechdel test, I don't know how many times they did, but they at least did it on that one, where one of the girls gets hurt, and she says, "Does it hurt?" And she goes, "Of course it does." And goes, "Good, get used to it, like embrace it." Like, maybe not embrace, but like, you know, learn what that feels like. Yeah, out here is pain. Learn what this feels like. Pick up your shit, and we're going to now we have to run. Yeah. So, and then, so they pick up all their stuff. One of the girls, like, goes back a couple feet to kick the chastity belt, which I thought was really, really cute. So, I don't know when we should do spoilers, because I feel like spoilers kind of need to happen.
Spoilers kind of need
Do you want to say a little bit more about anything else?
Let's leave it at that. You've got Charlize Theron driving the breeders out, and they're leaving this area.
They're going back to what they keep calling the green place. I'm trying to think. Anyway, it's really good. If you haven't seen it, go to see it. I would actually see it in 2D, but try to see it during a fairly busy time, because the one thing I thought was that I wish that we had seen it with a bigger crowd.
Yeah, our theater was only about 14 people, maybe?
Yeah, it was less than 20. And I feel like if we had seen it with more people, it would have been like there would have been a lot more, like, you know, audience freaking out about stuff, and it would have been a bigger impact. So if you can see it in, not like a super packed theater, but like at least half, to get that experience of like other people sharing in the what the heck, because there are a lot of what the heck moments, lots of practical effects and stuff. Ooh, oh, sorry, we just saw a cat in the road. That's sad. Well, with that downer, but yeah, it's really good. Charlize Theron is so good in this. All the female characters, I actually like all of the actresses that are in this movie, and we're going to talk about more of them into the spoilers. But all of them are really good. There are a few moments where the pregnant women have like some really cool defiant moments. I wish they were a little more proactive, but I mean, they're also pregnant, so like what they end up doing, I actually like, you know what I mean? And there's never a time when they've
also always been captive, so they've never really, I mean, they're going up against a
yeah, that's true too. And I never felt like they were particularly, it never falls into a lot of the tropes, a lot of the super bad tropes as far as women being weak. And some of that is because so many of the women are strong, so when a couple of the women aren't absolutely perfect in a fight scene, it doesn't feel like as big of a deal, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yes, Charlize Theron though does
So good. Oh my gosh, her arm is so awesome. I kept looking at it.
I love the arm.
Because she has...
she has a nub, and she's got this
like
metallic metal claw
That
thing.
effect was great. Like, there are a lot of practical effects. This one clearly wasn't practical. But, like, God, you believe it the whole time.
I think it also helps that you've got, you know, a pretty solid background always whenever you see it. Like,
yeah, God,
like it's
I
always
love
up against sand and desert and sky.
This is just a cool looking movie. Oh, and we should talk about our favorite random bad guy without a name, Guitar Guy, which you totally see in the trailer. He has a all right. So they have all this big army that's coming on them with like a bunch of like mangled cars and stuff. They have like drummers and stuff, but they also have a guy on the front of one of the bigger trucks that has a guitar, and he's always playing like he's at a he's in a concert, and like, but also the guitar shoots fire, and it's so enjoyable, and you're just like, he's always, and that's the thing, like, no matter what's happening around him, the guy just seems really, really happy to be playing his guitar, and oh my gosh, it's so goofy. It's like one of the goofiest visuals in the whole thing, and it stays throughout the whole movie.
Yep.
I love that. Like, right before, I ran to the restroom after the movie was over, and then I saw Mike, and I think I was just like, that Guitar Guy, man. Yeah, it's really good. I don't want to spoil too much for the people who haven't seen it. Definitely go to see it. I would say, again, 2D, but on the biggest screen you can. And
preferably one showing that's going to have people in it.
Yeah, have a good amount of people around you, just because you want that reaction.
Believe us, we went to about 3 theaters tonight trying to get good, decent seats. Like, the first theater we went to, we just missed the showing. The second theater we went to,
they only had front row, and we were like, we do not want to have in the front row. So, yeah, anyway,
so you're not gonna find too much of a problem trying to find a theater with, you know, people in it, but, you know, be aware it's much better with people in it.
Yeah,
I gotta believe the experiences.
All right, go to see this movie, and we'll be back for spoilers in a second.
And leave this world behind, go on, and take this pain away.
So, part of the spoilers are that the one very pregnant girl ends up dying. Kind of, I don't know, in the middle. I would say, like, generally middle of the movie, which shocked me. I actually was really surprised. She was the one that was the most defiant, because she was seen as the most beautiful in the eyes of the scummy McScumbag. So, and the one thing I thought was clever about this movie that they did really well was put at the very beginning that they do not want the girls harmed, which makes the stakes a lot, like, trickier, because then it's not like...
They can't just blow up the tank.
Exactly, and that was really smart of the writers to kind of set those terms, you know what I mean? And so there are a couple parts where the very pregnant one, the one that is, like, not beloved, but, like, is seen as the biggest prize, is putting her body, like, in the way of everyone else while they're driving.
She uses herself as a human
shield because she knows that he won't want to hurt her, or, you know. So, but she ends up getting hurt and slipping and falling off and basically crashing. And so, and that was like towards the end of this particular chase scene, and the you know, convoy, not really convoy, but the truck that has Mad Max. Oh yeah, Mad Max is in this movie. We haven't really talked about him.
Well,
I forgot. We went through the whole non-spoiler part not talking about Max. Oops. I mean, okay, he's like a person. No, that's not true. We talked about him as a blood bag. So that's not entirely untrue.
Okay, so the guy drives the guy who has Mad Max as his blood bag on the front of his car. He catches up with the tanker, you know, and he's the only one from the convoy that catches up. And
there's so much to this movie. I'm trying to talk, you know.
Basically, their car gets flipped. Max wakes up basically he's chained to this guy.
And so he carries him.
Carries him, and then he sees, holy crap, the tanker's in front of us.
So he tries. A very entertaining part where he realizes that the gun has nothing in it anymore. So then he pretends.
No, he shoots it, but it doesn't shoot. It just peters out. The bullet's dead.
Yeah. So what happens is, so then there's this big moment where they're trying to grapple with the gun, and he just wants like water and to get and to steal their
truck,
their big ass truck, and then Charlize Theron finally gets on top of him, puts the gun to his head, pulls the trigger, and nothing. And then she just like looks at him with like this angry look and just smacks him in the face with the gun, and it's amazing.
But they have a fight, and then they make up because they both
kind of. Well, and then there's the moment of like he tries to run away, but there's a kill switch, and so she's like, "You can't get away without me." Anyway, all right. So around after that, there are a couple more scenes. The chase scene happens. I feel like if we explain like the whole movie, we're never gonna get through it. And there are too many good things that are just about like everything that happens. So, but one of the things I will say is that this is how I feel, because at first I was like, they killed the pregnant one. Well, first of all, I guess at least one other girl is pregnant. But here's the important thing. I feel like if this was a different movie and she was the only girl besides Charlize Theron, or the only girl in general, if Charlize Theron's character was a man, and then she died, you know, the pregnant girl, I would be way more pissed off, because it was the one female character, and it felt like, oh, well, we need to have someone die here. Let's have the one female character die. That will make things sad. Here, it felt, that's why you need diverse characters in movies, especially movies like this where there will be collateral damage, because you're gonna end up killing characters in this movie. And when you kill off the one character that brings a little bit of something that isn't a white dude to the table, it's noticeable. Here, it's not that it's the pregnant woman, it's the pregnant woman that gave them hope and was like, and the one that was the most defiant. And so, like, there's just, that's how I felt about it. And the fact that, like, later on, the one guy who originally was basically the kid who or the guy really who strapped Max on and then chased them, ends up helping them because he likes one of the girls, and he keeps trying, but he fails 3 times to stop them. And then he has a change of heart because one of the girls kind of says, like, maybe you're not supposed to die for this. Maybe it's, you know. But Nicholas Hoult plays him, which he's been in 1,000 things. He was in About a Boy. He played Hank McCoy in the newest X-Men movies. So it was ones where they're young, yeah, in the 70s. Yeah, but so it's really fun to see him like with a shaved head and like the weird mouth and stuff, and being just totally off the wall. There's just so much to talk about. But the other big thing. So basically, they keep going, and you know, they get chased. Every so often, you know, a car catches up and they have to deal with it, or they get stuck and they have to deal with it. But then they get to around where she remembers it, because it used to be her homeland, because she was kidnapped and obviously by this asshole guy. And they meet up with people that she used to know, a woman close to her age, and then a bunch of old women that were part of her tribe or her community, who are these awesome old, like, desert biker women. They're so cool. Like, once they showed up, because I liked the movie a lot, and I liked the women that were getting rescued. I liked Ferosa, but once the desert biker old ladies came, I was like, I am so on board, 100%. This is the movie that I wanted to see. Yes. And I was actually getting I was really emotional at that moment when she realizes that they're the women that she knows, and they recognize her. Like, I was like, I had my hand to my heart a little bit. It was a good moment. And then she finds out that they go through this like swampy land to get there, and she goes like, oh, I can't wait to go to the green place. And I go, but you passed it. If you came from that way, you passed it. And they realize that the swampy land that was like just muck, it was mostly just mud, that was what was left of her place. It was, the land was poisoned, and almost all the water dried up, and the water that was there was poisonous. Which, and again, it's a nice visual cue, because you see these people on sticks like walking across that area, and they don't explain what it is. And then when you think about it later, you're like, oh, that's why they were walking on sticks, because they couldn't touch them.
Seriously not get a parking spot by like 10 seconds?
Apparently.
What the heck? I hate this.
There's one right there, hon. Or there's one right there, or there's one right there. It's fine, we're across the way. So she realizes that her entire community is gone. That it's basically just these old ladies then. Do you want to go inside? We were standing right in front of a guy smoking on his front porch, and it's a little weird.
Yeah, we can take it inside.
We can take it inside. Anyway, first I will say this much. So Charlize Theron, you see it in the trailer that she's on her knees screaming in the desert. That's that moment, and it's amazing. Like, it's so good.
And it's shot really well.
Oh my god, it's so good.
I love the visual.
I was wondering what it was that she was screaming. I was like, oh, that's appropriate. That's a very appropriate reason to be screaming in the desert on your knees. Let's talk about the rest when we get in, so we will see you in a second. Hey everyone. Alright, we're gonna keep this I want to keep this short.
Yeah, short and quick.
But yeah, there was, one of our neighbors was just sitting out there smoking a cigarette, and we were like, right in his viewpoint. I was like, this feels awkward, because he's gonna wonder why we have a camera out. So, yeah.
We're not used to that yet.
We haven't seen, there are only a few times, and usually they just give us weird looks, but he was right there. Alright, so where were we at? Oh, she was mourning the loss of her land and screaming. And then we get to meet the old ladies, who are all awesome, and oh my god, there were so many good moments with them. Like, when they were seeing the girls, and they were like, where did you find these girls? They're so soft. And, like, it was so... I love that. I was, like, grinning, because I was like, I like all of these characters, don't kill them. And then they killed them, of course. I liked so much of what they did with those moments.
I think there was one that survived.
One survived, yeah. I was really mad because one just got knocked off, and I was like, but she landed on, like, another part of the car, right? She didn't, like, fall off she fell off, didn't she? And then she was never seen again. That bothered me. Also, the younger woman who's around Ferosa's age, she was just known as the Valkyrie, and she had, like, oh, it made me so mad, because she basically just got, like, smacked by one and run over. It was, I wanted to see all these ladies, but I love the fact that because the one thing that Max really does in this movie, like, the one thing that is, like, his main contribution is the plan.
Yep. That's his big contribution.
Yeah.
Besides being...
like, occasionally saving things. Like, he does occasionally do that. But all the women get to do a lot of good stuff. Like, even the women who were basically rescued have a lot of good moments. So I'm okay with a lot of it. But yeah, Max is the one that comes up with the plan that instead of keep going forward with just, like, sand and salt and clearly they'll not survive. Instead, because all of the people in charge are out in the desert looking for them, why don't they just go back, liberate everyone, bing, bang, boom.
Because all the, healthy troops are out here chasing us.
Yeah, exactly. So if we just, like, go back and hope that they can't catch up to us in time, we can take the Citadel for ourselves. And Charlize Theron's character clearly doesn't think this is a good idea, but all the old ladies like, that sounds like fun. We could, like, kill some jerks. because they seem like jerks.
And there's a green place.
And
with
there's
water.
and there's like all this water and we can plant our seeds because one of the old ladies carries all the seeds that they were able to salvage. And she has a moment with one of the girls, which was really cute. Like, I swear, all the interaction between all the female characters I loved. And there's so many female characters in this movie. But I like that the old lady's like, yeah, I'm game. And Charisse is the one that's like, I hate that this is our best option. That was her whole look during the entirety of talking about that plan. And then there's a huge chase scene. And again, like, here's the thing. You go into this movie, you better be in the mood for a bunch of chase scenes and explosions and all that stuff. If you're not in the mood for it, don't watch this movie when you're not in the mood for it.
Yeah, this is a big car chasey. It's like watching Wacky Races, but...
Yes. And there's all the, like, the crazy, like, pole things, which again, I'm like, this doesn't feel practical.
When are you using this when you're not chasing these people?
And look, I understand. Suspension of disbelief.
I get the guitar guy. I mean, the guitar guy can be useful when you're not chasing people.
He can shoot fire, okay? Like, it's a weapon as well as a musical instrument.
He's also blind. Did you not notice that part?
Yeah, finally, he pulled off. But he was still like, ah. And again, I don't know if we mentioned this, but when they're parked, like, there's a part where they're all, like, the troops are all sleeping. He's in, like, this baby bumper harness thing, so that when he's sleeping, he's just, like, laying there. And when they all wake up because they see the truck going the other way, he wakes up and he's like, oh, do I have to play now? Do I have to play?
Well, he's ready to play. He's
always
time to
ready.
play.
Again, and he's like, this one particular character is like, his face is always on game as far as performances. I'm like, no one who you're supposed to be encouraging can see you because they're all looking straight ahead because you're driving on a road. It's so...
Technically, I think most of this movie, they're not really on a particular road.
Well, they're driving forward, okay? Like, no one's, like, oh my gosh, it's so goofy. Alright, so there's a huge fight scene. A lot of the old women do die, but they do get a good amount of, like, it takes them a while. And the thing is, like, when you're talking about cannon fodder, I cared about I cared about the heroes because all the characters were actually interesting instead of a bunch of white dudes. So I really, really cared.
Unlike Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. I really liked all of these, like, little side good guys, and I wanted as many of them to survive as possible. So every time one of the old ladies got clipped off, I was like, no! One of them survives. But
it also felt like there were more of them before the plan, and then now there's less.
Two of them fell pretty quickly because they were the ones that were actually on the bikes. Yeah. I think the one with the seeds
was in the car.
She stayed around for a while, like even when she was really, really badly wounded. I think one of them was on top, and she got knocked off. I can't remember. And then one of them survives, and maybe like one other one was also on top, and she got hurt. Also,
I noticed this one part during the final chase. They threw like a grenade into the cab.
But it took a long time.
It took a long time, and did it ever go off?
I think they threw it out, and it exploded.
I didn't see them throw it out.
There was a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on.
So I will say this much: what makes it okay that so many of the female characters died? Because one, there are a lot of female characters that end up being okay. No.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot that die too.
Yeah, but there are also some that survive. Like, 3 of the girls survive. Only one of them... No, 4 of the girls survive.
4.
And only one of them, and that was early on. One of the girls does get kidnapped during that final chase, but, again, it's not like she's the only girl. So, like, if one of the girls gets kidnapped, one of the girls who is tempted earlier to leave and just ask forgiveness actually tricks one of the son of the big bad guy, like, oh yeah, take me.
He just tricks the big beefy dude.
The big beefy dude is the son.
Well, he's just a big.
Okay,
dude.
fine, but I'm pointing it out. But she tricks him, and you think that she just is like, take me with you, because they set that up. But no, she ends up doing that so she can help Ferosa and make sure that she gets
out
where she needs to be. Which I thought was really good, because I was like, I don't really want one of the girls to defect this late in the game. And then, well, so again, lots of female characters do die, but there are a lot left. And the thing that makes it okay, to me, is the fact that the one young white guy, who happens to also be the kind of love interest to one of the girls, they were very light on it, which made it okay. It was more like we are connecting in a vague way.
Because we've never interacted as people before?
Yeah, exactly. And we're trying to survive, and, you know, we're in this tight space together, so, like, it's more just, like, there's no kiss. They don't kiss. It's all like they cuddle a little bit when they're all trying to sleep, but like all of the younger people are in the back anyway, and they have a couple moments together, but that's it. And he's kind of inspired by her to help them out. It's light, is what I'm saying, which makes it easy, and it's the only romance in the whole damn thing. Ferosa and Max do not get together. There's no love. You know what I mean?
But they get blood bonded.
That's not the same thing. So did Max and the other kid. So, like, I don't know
they're in a relationship forever.
No, that's not how it works. So anyway, my point is...
I thought Harry and Voldemort... Didn't we learn this?
Yes, that's the thing you should be taking from it.
Black
so
magic?
Nux is the younger kid who thought he was going to Valhalla. I really hope you guys are all understanding this. We're trying to get through the plot, okay? But he actually does die at the end. He's like the last person to die.
But he basically helps them escape.
He sacrifices himself.
Escape.
He's the reason they escape. He has a nice moment with the girl where they kind of lock eyes and they know what she knows what he's going to do, you know. And they say goodbye like through like that look. But my point is that the one young, in real life, handsome white dude does die in this movie. So it's not like I think the only guy who doesn't that is a substantial character who doesn't die in this is Max. Everybody, all the other ones do. So my point is that it doesn't feel like only the women are cannon fodder. That they said, oh, we need some people to die. Let's have all the women die.
That's an interesting proposition.
Yeah, exactly. So like it doesn't. So the deaths of the other characters don't feel as cheap because it just feels like, oh, it's not that the writers just decided that some of them. It's the way that this universe plays out that the death tolls rise really, really quickly, and it doesn't feel like the women were cherry picked to be the victims, which I liked. I thought the ending was a little easy, to be quite honest, because there are a lot of people, including a few like foremen and stuff. Like there were a couple of guys that were obviously in charge.
Not just that, but the one brother who is like the imp or whatever.
Yeah, was it the yeah, and he just kind of lets them
He's just
go
sort
in.
Of, okay. Hi, I'm in a floating chair.
And we don't really see enough of him to really know. And again, I don't mind this as much specifically because they didn't do a bunch of exposition explaining it. They just had those characters be those characters. But at the same time, I don't know enough about that particular character to actually, like, understand why he's letting them do it. Or if he just feels helpless, if there's anybody else. What I did like, I liked a couple things. One, that the little kids were like, should we let them up? Yeah, we should let them up. I like
them up.
Yeah, but the thing I really liked is that the people who released the water to the people below, were the women that were getting the milk sucked out of them at the beginning. Because that's a pretty horrifying. That's one of the more, I wouldn't say body horrors, but it's pretty close. Like the women are basically being like pumped dry. And I read the synopsis, like that was something that they meant to do, where like these larger women with larger breasts are basically farmed, and
farmed for the milk.
Farmed for the milk,
The others are farmed.
Are just bred.
Yeah.
But then they're kept looking nice because the guy's a pervert. But the point is that the people who give the water to everybody else and who release the water are these larger women. And it was a nice, it was a really nice moment that like that even at the very end, the people that are kind of opening up are even the women that didn't have a chance to do anything else in the movie. So that was a really, again, I'm just saying, like, there were nice touches here and there, and they avoid any of the sexualized violence. There's alluding to, because obviously these women are pregnant and victims of this man who is keeping them captive, but you never see it, which I really like, because it's really, really hard to have to watch sexualized violence.
And it could have been really easy to do it.
It could have been so easy, or to really sexualize their bodies. The closest thing you come is when they're getting water for the first time, and Max sees them all after the first big chase scene, and like some of the water is over their clothes, and you can kind of see their nipples. But even then, it's not like they were bending over or something. It's not like their bodies were highly sexualized or anything. There was just a little bit less coverage on that because the clothes were wet. But it still didn't feel like... It could have been done so much worse. There were so many other ways it could have been done badly.
There are a lot of ways that you could have shot that scene that
would have been really gross. Yeah. Really, like, yeah, all the female characters, it's not all of them got as much character development, but even the ones that got only a little bit still got more than a lot of female characters do in other action movies. And there are so many, so that you don't really have to worry about, like... Yeah, like, you can at least find a few moments in there that felt really genuine. And it did. That was part of it, is that it felt genuine. They weren't trying to, like, to be cheap about writing for these particular characters. And that's so cool. And I want more action movies like this, because it felt way more at ease than I would have if I didn't know about how good they were with the female characters. I felt way more at ease because I didn't have to brace myself for like a really gross moment. So, I'm trying to think if there was anything else. Oh, and Max leaves at the end to go on like a cowboy on the rusty trail. His work is done, and he feels slightly less guilty about those kids that he let die. And other people. He doesn't really explain. One of them might have been his son or daughter. Ooh.
I don't know. He just has crazy vision.
Also, oh my gosh, the first 15 minutes of this movie was basically like Terry Gilliam. Because it was like fast forwarded, remember? I'm really glad that stopped after a while, but at the same time I was like, I am, like, you know, it is getting a little annoying. It would be annoying if it happened throughout the whole movie. But at the same time, speeding up means we can actually get to the awesome female characters quicker, and we don't have to see, like, a chase scene that takes, like, twice as long.
Yes.
So, that makes me happy. But it was really weird. Looking back, that was, like, a very different style than the rest of the movie, you know? Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's because Max is so crazy that's...
Crazy, yeah.
He's got crazy vision, so, you know, everything happens in fast forward. Max exists in fast forward.
So would you say you would suggest someone go see this movie?
Oh yeah, it's really good. It's really excellent. It's excellent shot. I don't know what else to say about this movie.
You're just saying like the words that also mean excellent. It was very good. It was very excellent. It was really terrific.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I don't know.
I know. I'm
like
really
it's really good.
Too. Yeah.
It's not bad or terrible.
It's
really
the opposite
good.
of it. I would even say it's good. I can't, yeah, I'm trying to rack my brain because there's so much stuff that happens in this movie. That's why when we were talking in the car, I was like, I'm trying to remember all the different plot things, specifically, so that I can, you know, actually talk about some of the
stuff. To be fair, a lot of the plot stuff is sort of mumbled and sort of...
That's why I want to see it on DVD. I really want to see the subtitles for this movie, because I'm pretty sure I will understand.
One of the lines I remember being, like, that sticks out, I remember she goes, well, maybe it's not your manifest destiny.
Yeah, and I was like, did they bring that up before? Is that one of the mantra things that he kept saying?
I don't know, but, like, that's not your manifest destiny. And I'm like, so are you going to go conquer the wilds?
I'm wondering if that was one of like the phrases that was instilled in him, but we just didn't hear it.
Well, no. The lady says it to the.
I know.
Boy.
I think what was happening is that that's one of the things that they were saying. So she was saying it sarcastically, like, I don't think it's your manifest destiny to take us back, or to die for this. I think that's what she was trying to say. That as if that's something that they say a lot.
I don't know. There's a lot of lines that, like, I try to listen to, and it's like, okay, that sort... Like, they throw in a word every now and then that just doesn't make...
any sense.
Raspberries.
But they were like, the snarflurfs. One of the girls kept, like, saying an insult. I'm like, I don't know what that is. I assume it's a bad thing. But it was like snarfluffs or something.
Yes.
It was weird. I don't know, the visual style was amazing. All the vehicles were amazing. I kept thinking about how they must have shot it, because it's just so much of it is practical. Not all of it. There were a few CGI. Towards the end with the wheel.
The storm.
Yes.
When you first see it, it looks really good, but then when they get driving in it, it doesn't look that great.
Yeah, that was another reason I didn't want to see it in 3D. I just thought it would be annoying.
Yeah.
But, it was still impressive. Like, it still felt like high stakes. Like, the whole movie feels very high stakes, which is good. And I don't know, Feroza was amazing. Charlize Theron was so good. Like, I hope that she doesn't necessarily get a sequel, because I could see it, like, being absolutely ruined, but, like, she's such a great character. I'm hoping that character really sticks around.
What you do is you probably have Mad Max get into some other kind of adventure, and then he's like, I know of a green place, and they go there, and then Charlize Theron is kind of a cameo.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I hope this movie makes a lot of money. I really do, because it's way more interesting than a lot of the schlocky action movies out.
And they all have to get together and defend the green place from the people that were chasing them.
Yeah, maybe. But everything about it was just really fun. And, like I said, I wish we had seen it with more people. I'm almost thinking I kind of want to go see it again, but, like, on a Saturday night.
Well, Saturday night we have to go see Ultron again.
No, I mean, like, maybe the week after.
Yeah.
But sometime when there might actually be a decent amount of people.
In a theater.
Because I kind of just want to see it with people where they can really experience it.
And react to the jokes and the craziness.
Yeah, because I was laughing at a few bits that were really funny. And I was just like, no one else? Now I feel awkward.
You guy over there, did you find that funny?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not trying to drag it out, but I'm just trying to remember if there's anything else, because it really is like sensory overload. So much orange.
It's a lot of orange.
Except at night, and then it's just like blue. It's just dark blue.
Orange and blue.
Yeah.
Theme for movies.
It is a theme for movies. But, yeah, it's so freaking pretty. It's so, again, I kind of wish there was a few more breaks in between, like, the fights, the action scenes and the chase scenes, because they're really the same thing. I kind of wish there was just a little more character development, but I'm also, like, complaining about a movie that did a really good job with character development, so it's more like, it's not as much a complaint as more of like, I just wish I had had more of that.
I can see that, but also there weren't a lot of depth to many of the characters besides Charlize Theron, who got the most of it. The character
when you compare to its kin as far as action movies in like last 5 years, so much more interesting bits. Maybe not development, but at least little quirks, little personalities. Like, I appreciate the fact that all the old ladies and the rescued women kind of bonded a little bit, and you got a little bit of that. I appreciated that the women mourned their fallen sister, and were angry and were pissed off. And
then they all decided to not drive across the salt flats for 200
which was probably
days.
It was actually like 160, but yeah.
160, 200, whatever.
It's only 40 less days. Whatever.
You're not going to find a green place that way.
Yeah.
There's a green place that way.
Yeah, the other thing was I don't remember until they needed to show Max having a map. I don't remember him doing the map.
Yeah, there was
So that
some
was
kind
weird.
of. He had some kind of needlepoint thing earlier.
I don't even remember that.
But-
so,
I didn't think it was a map.
but all right. So I will say I kind of want to get. I'm so
Yeah.
tired.
We're done.
But let me say this much. Kudos to the director, specifically for the fact that he did so much visually, not just with the crazy over-the-top chase scenes, but particularly with giving the audience information.
Mm-hmm.
That was really damn important. Like, a lot of the cues about Max, like almost everything about Max, we know through the really quick flashbacks, right? A lot of the other, George Miller. I knew it in my head, I just couldn't think of it. But there were a lot of things that a lesser writer and the directing team would have just done in dialogue, whereas he did it visually.
Yeah.
Where he so that when they do talk, it actually means something instead of
Exposition.
all exposition to explain this crazy world. So I really, just kudos to you, Mr. Miller, because you did a really good job of exploring the world as much as you could in 2 hours, but also focusing a heck of a lot on the characters, even if it was just in little spurts here and there, because there was such a big cast. Again, go to see it. I'm exhausted, but I'm very pleased that this movie exists. And I hope it makes a lot of money.
Yep. We're almost out of time.
We're almost out of time. Katie and Mike, justplainsomething.com, and actually now katieschenkel.com if you want to see that. That's my personal site with
Sort of resume stuff.
and portfolio and stuff. So, but also justplainsomething.com, and we'll see you later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
This world behind, go on.